Okay, picture this. You wake up one morning and one of your joints, maybe your toe, maybe your knee, is red, swollen, and just screaming with pain. So, what's going on? Well, it's a really common mystery, and today we're going to play detective and get to the bottom of it. So, what is really behind that painful swollen joint? It's easy to just lump it all under the umbrella of arthritis, but that's kind of like saying a crime was committed by somebody. To solve this thing, we need to get way more specific. We need to identify our suspects. And here we are, our two prime suspects. On one side, you've got gout, which, as you can see, looks like a fiery, sudden attack. And on the other side, we have osteoarthritis, which is more of a slow, grinding process. They both target the same place, the joint, but wow, their methods couldn't be more different. All right, let's dive into our first suspect, gout. This one is famous for its dramatic, out-of-nowhere attacks. This isn't a slow burn, not at all. It's a full-on assault. So at its very core, gout is a problem with your metabolism. Your body has too much of something called uric acid. And that extra acid starts to form these tiny, sharp crystals. And where do these nasty little crystals love to hang out? You guessed it, right inside your joints. And this shows us the weapon itself. We're talking sharp, needle-like crystals. Just imagine these things invading that smooth joint space. Your immune system spots them, thinks it's under attack, and launches an all-out war. And that is what causes that sudden, intense, crazy pain and swelling of a gout attack. But here's the thing. This culprit doesn't always act alone. This crystal attack is often set off by specific triggers. Things like enjoying a big steak dinner with a few beers, going through a period of high stress, or even taking certain medications. Any of those can be the spark that lights the fuse for a full-blown attack. Okay, let's shift gears and look at our second suspect, because this is a completely different story. Osteoarthritis has a totally different MO. It's not a sudden ambush, it's a process of slow, quiet decay that can happen over many, many years. Osteoarthritis is what most of us think of when we hear wear and tear arthritis. It's a degenerative condition, which just means that things break down over time. It's actually the most common form of joint disease, and it's caused by mechanical stress, not a metabolic problem like gout. So let's look at how this happens. Instead of sharp crystals invading, you can see here that the smooth, protective cartilage that cushions the bones just gradually wears away. As it gets thinner and thinner, you start to get bone-on-bone action, damage, and even pinched nerves. It's a mechanical failure, not a chemical attack. Okay, so we've profiled our two main suspects. Now it's time to put all the evidence side by side. This is how we're really going to crack the case of what's causing that joint pain. Just look at this breakdown. The cause, you've got crystals versus simple wear and tear. How's it feel? A sudden, intense attack for gout versus a chronic, deep ache for osteoarthritis. And the locations is a big clue too. Gout just loves the big toe and other smaller joints, while osteoarthritis usually goes for the big, weight-bearing joints like your knees, hips, and spine. The patterns are totally distinct. So with these very different profiles, how does a doctor make that final, definitive call? Well, they have to find concrete, undeniable proof. They have to find the smoking gun. For gout, this is the absolute gold standard. The real smoking gun is a procedure where a doctor actually draws fluid from that inflamed joint. They put it under a microscope, and if they see those distinct needle-like crystals, boom, case closed. It's a crystal attack.
An X-ray can also add more evidence to the file for gout. As you can see right here, when gout has been around for a while, those repeated attacks can actually cause damage and start to erode the bone itself, confirming the long-term effects.
And here's why getting that diagnosis right is so important. Once you've correctly identified the culprit, the game plan to manage it is completely different. You just can't treat a crystal attack the same way you treat wear and tear. I mean, look at the treatment goals. They're fundamentally different. For gout, the top priority is to shut down that crazy inflammation and then lower the body's uric acid levels to prevent it from ever happening again. For osteoarthritis, though, it's all about managing the chronic pain and trying to preserve as much joint function as you can for as long as you can. So here's the playbook for gout. During an attack, doctors will use powerful anti-inflammatories like NSAIDs or steroids to basically put out the fire. But for the long term, they'll prescribe drugs like allopurinol, which actually reduce how much uric acid your body makes in the first place, preventing those crystals from ever forming. Now, the plan for osteoarthritis, on the other hand, is all about symptom relief. This usually starts with things like pain relievers and anti-inflammatories, but it can also include supplements, topical creams, or even steroid injections right into the joint for some temporary relief. It's all about managing the day-to-day effects of that wear and tear.
But just when you think you've got it all figured out, medicine loves to throw in a good plot twist. What if the culprit isn't one of our main suspects at all, but an imposter?
Well, ni pseudo-gout. The name literally means false gout. It looks and feels almost exactly like a real gout attack, but, and this is key, it's caused by entirely different crystals. This is a perfect example of why just guessing is never a good idea. Finding that smoking gun with a real medical diagnosis is absolutely critical. So, when it comes to joint pain, it's not enough to just know the crime scene. You have to identify the correct culprit. Whether it's the crystal attack of gout, the slow decay of osteoarthritis, or even an imposter, getting that proper diagnosis is the essential first step to finding the right solution. Now, what mystery should we investigate next?